There is a tragedy happening in modern gardens. Every single spring, millions of us go out to the garden center. We buy trays of tomato seedlings, packs of pepper seeds, and bags of lettuce. We till the soil, we plant the seeds, we water, we weed, and we harvest. And then, at the first frost of winter, everything dies. The garden goes black. And next spring, we have to do it all over again. We have to buy the seeds again. We have to till again. We have to work again. This is what I call treadmill gardening. You are running as fast as you can just to stay in the same place. But what if I told you there was a different way? What if I told you that you could plant a garden once, just one time, and it would feed you for the next 20, 30, or even 50 years? This isn't a fantasy. This is how humans used to farm before the Industrial Revolution. It is called perennial agriculture. Annual plants, like corn and lettuce, live for one season. They put all their energy into making seeds before they die. But perennial plants are different. They put their energy into their roots. They build massive underground storage systems. They survive the winter. And every spring, like clockwork, they explode out of the ground, usually weeks before you can even plant your annuals. Today, we are getting off the treadmill. I am going to show you the 12 essential crops that will turn your backyard into a self-perpetuating food forest. We aren't just talking about a few berries here. We are talking about staple carbohydrates, gourmet vegetables, and medicinal roots that essentially pay you rent for living in your soil. Number 4 is a vegetable so resilient it can survive a nuclear winter. Number 9 is an onion that literally walks across your garden to plant itself. And stick around for number 12, because it is the single most calorie-dense plant you can grow in a temperate climate, the true key to food security. Welcome to the Forever Garden. Let's get planting. Number 1. The king of the perennial patch, asparagus. If you are serious about perennial food, you start here. Asparagus is not just a vegetable, it is an investment. A well-planted asparagus crown can produce heavy yields for 20 to 25 years. I know gardeners who are harvesting stalks from patches their grandfathers planted. But to get that longevity, you have to understand the botany. Asparagus officinalis is a dioecious plant. That means there are separate male and female plants. The female plants produce those little red berries you see in the fall. While they are pretty, making those berries takes energy that should be going into making big, fat stalks for you to eat. The male plants don't make berries. They just make stalks. This is why you want all-male hybrid varieties like Jersey Night or Millennium. These have been bred to produce 3 times the yield of old heirloom varieties like Mary Washington. The secret to asparagus is patience. When you plant the crowns, which look like weird alien octopuses, into a deep trench, you cannot harvest them the first year. You have to let them fern out. The spears will grow into tall, feathery fronds that collect solar energy and pump it down into the roots. If you cut them too early, you kill the plant. You wait until year 3, but once year 3 hits, it is a machine. For 6 weeks every spring, you can walk out to your garden every single morning and snap off fresh, crisp spears. It is the first fresh vegetable of the year, usually appearing while the rest of your garden is still bare dirt. It is a nutritional powerhouse, packed with vitamin K and folate. And the taste? Sweet, nutty, and tender, nothing like the woody sticks you buy at the grocery store. Number 2. The dessert vegetable, rhubarb. Rhubarb is the perfect partner to strawberries, and it is arguably the toughest plant on this list. You can run over a rhubarb crown with a truck, and it will probably grow back. Historically, rhubarb was used as a purgative medicine in ancient China, but the British realized that if you smother it in sugar, it makes an incredible pie filling. The part we eat is the petiole, or the leaf stalk. We need to have a serious safety talk here. You must never, ever eat the leaves of the rhubarb plant. They contain high concentrations of oxalic acid, which can cause kidney failure. But the red and green stalks? Totally safe and delicious. Rhubarb loves the cold. In fact, it needs a hard freeze to reset its growth cycle. If you live in Florida, you will struggle with this. But if you live in the north, this is your champion. Here is the insider trick for rhubarb. Forcing. In late winter, before the plant wakes up, Cover the crown with a tall, dark pot or a traditional terracotta forcing jar. This blocks the light. As the rhubarb wakes up, it will reach frantically for the sun. The stalks will grow incredibly long, tender, and bright pink because they haven't developed chlorophyll yet. These forced stalks are a gourmet delicacy, sweeter and more delicate than the summer harvest. Every 5 years, you dig up your rhubarb root, chop it into 4 pieces with a spade, and replant them. 1 plant becomes 4. 4 becomes 16. You will quickly become the neighborhood rhubarb supplier. Number 3. The survival calorie. Jerusalem artichoke. Sunchokes. Let's be honest. You cannot survive on asparagus and rhubarb. You need calories. You need starch. This is where the Jerusalem artichoke comes in. Despite the name, it is not from Jerusalem, and it is not an artichoke. It is a species of sunflower, Helianthus tuberosus, native to North America. Instead of grown for seeds, we grow it for the knobby, potato-like tubers that form on the roots. This plant is aggressive. I often tell people, do not plant this in your garden. Plant this where you want a wall. It grows 10 feet tall in a single season, creating a massive visual screen with beautiful yellow flowers. Below ground, the yield is insane. You can get 5 to 10 pounds of tubers from a single plant. They taste like a cross between a potato and a water chestnut, crisp, nutty, and sweet. You can roast them, mash them, or pickle them. But we have to talk about the wind. Sunchokes contain a carbohydrate called inulin. Humans cannot digest inulin, but our gut bacteria love it. When they eat it, they produce gas. This has earned the plant the nickname fartichoke. Here is the fix. You must convert the inulin. You can do this by slow roasting them for a long time, or better yet, fermenting them into pickles. The fermentation process breaks down the inulin, so you get the nutrition without the musical side effects. This is a true survival crop. If you leave the tubers in the ground, they survive the winter perfectly. You can harvest them all winter long, whenever the ground isn't frozen. It is a living root cellar. Number 4. The antioxidant king. Blueberries. Most people think of blueberries as a treat. I think of them as a daily medical necessity. The anthocyanins, the blue pigment, are some of the most potent antioxidants in the plant kingdom, specifically protecting the brain and the eyes from aging. Blueberry bushes can live for 50 years, but they have one very specific demand: acid. Most garden soil has a pH of 6.5 or 7. Blueberries need a pH of 4.5 to 5. If the soil isn't acidic enough, the plant cannot uptake iron. The leaves will turn yellow, chlorosis, and the plant will slowly starve to death, even if there is plenty of iron in the soil. If you don't have naturally acidic soil, you have to build it. Do not just add vinegar, that washes away. You need to incorporate elemental sulfur or vast amounts of peat moss and pine needles. Or grow them in containers where you can control the environment perfectly. You want to plant at least 2 varieties, an early season and a late season. This does 2 things. First, it extends your harvest from 2 weeks to 2 months. Second, cross-pollination makes the berries bigger. A solitary blueberry bush will give you berries the size of peas. 2 bushes cross-pollinating will give you berries the size of marbles. Once established, they are incredibly low maintenance. Pruning is simple. Just cut out the oldest, grayest wood every winter to encourage new, red, productive canes. It's a 10-minute job once a year for buckets of fruit. Number 5. The ground cover. Strawberries. We usually treat strawberries as short-lived plants, replanting them every few years. But in a permaculture system, they are the living mulch. Why? Strawberries send out runners, long stems with a baby plant at the end. These runners root wherever they touch the soil. If you let them go wild, they will form a dense mat that covers the ground, suppressing weeds and holding in moisture. You want a mix of June-bearing and ever-bearing types. June-bearers give you a massive explosion of huge berries all at once, perfect for jam making. Ever-bearers like Albion or Seascape produce a smaller but steady stream of fruit from spring until the snow flies. The secret to perennial strawberries is renovation. After the June harvest, take your lawnmower set to the highest setting, or a weed whacker, and literally mow the leaves off the plants. It sounds brutal, but this shocks the plant into putting out fresh, disease-free leaves for the fall. It breaks the cycle of fungal spores and keeps the patch vigorous for years. Strawberries are the bottom layer of your food forest. Plant them under your asparagus, under your rhubarb, under your fruit trees. Use every inch of vertical space. Number 6. The sweet treat. Raspberries and blackberries, brambles. If you have kids, or if you just love fresh jam, you need a bramble patch. These are cane fruits. The roots are perennial, living forever, but the individual canes have a 2-year life cycle. This confuses people, so let's simplify it. Year 1. The plant sends up a green, fresh cane called a primo cane. It usually just grows leaves. Year 2. That same cane turns brown and woody. It is now a floricane. It produces flowers and fruit, and then it dies. Your job is simple. Every winter, you cut the dead canes down to the ground. You leave the green ones. That's it. However, there is a hack. Primocane-bearing varieties, like Heritage or Fall Gold raspberries, produce fruit on the first-year wood, usually in the autumn. If you want the laziest garden possible, plant these. Then, in winter, you just mow the entire patch to the ground. You don't have to sort the old from the new. Everything grows back in spring and fruits in the fall. Warning: raspberries travel. Their roots run underground and pop up 5 feet away. If you don't want a raspberry forest, you need to plant them in a raised bed or bury a metal barrier around the patch. But honestly, having too many raspberries is a wonderful problem to have. Number 7. The gourmet thistle, globe artichoke. This is the plant that looks like it belongs in Jurassic Park. It grows huge, silver, fern-like leaves that are stunningly architectural. The part we eat, the artichoke, is actually the immature flower bud of a giant thistle. If you don't pick it, it opens into a spectacular, electric purple flower that bees go absolutely crazy for. Artichokes are true perennials in zones 7 and warmer. In colder zones, like 5 and 6, you have to trick them. You can treat them as annuals, or you can try to overwinter them by cutting them back and covering them with a massive pile of straw and a tarp, a technique called mulching in. One plant can produce 10 to 20 artichokes a year. Considering these cost $3 a piece at the grocery store, a single plant can yield $60 worth of food. The variety Green Globe is the classic, but Purple of Romagna offers beautiful violet heads that are tender enough to eat raw when small. This is a crop that signals luxury. Serving homegrown artichokes with melted butter is a flex that very few gardeners can pull off. Number 8. The medicine and the spice. Horseradish. Every permaculture garden needs horseradish, not just for prime rib, but for health. Horseradish is a powerhouse of vitamin C and glucosinolates, compounds that clear the sinuses, stimulate the immune system, and fight bacteria. It is the original decongestant. Botany-wise, it is a brute. It has a massive taproot that dives deep into the subsoil, mining minerals that other plants can't reach. It is practically indestructible. To harvest, you dig up the main root in the fall, scrub it, peel it, and grate it. Warning: grating fresh horseradish releases volatile oils that are essentially mustard gas. Do this outside or with a window open, or you will be crying your eyes out. Mix the grated root with vinegar and salt to stabilize the heat. If you leave it plain, it turns brown and loses its punch. When you harvest, if you leave even a tiny 1-inch piece of root in the ground, it will grow a whole new plant next year. In fact, it's hard to get rid of. Plant it in a corner where you are happy for it to stay forever. It is also a fantastic companion plant for fruit trees, as its pungent oils are thought to repel pests. Number 9. The walking onion. Egyptian walking onion. This is my favorite plant to show to children. It defies the laws of physics. Normal onions grow a bulb underground. Walking onions do that too. But then they send up a tall green stalk. Instead of a flower, a cluster of little baby bulbs called topsets grows at the top of the stalk. As these topsets get heavier, the stalk bends over under the weight. Eventually, it touches the ground. The baby bulbs put down roots, and voila, the onion has walked 2 feet across the garden. Over a few years, a patch of walking onions will migrate across your yard. You can eat every part of this plant, You can eat the green stalks like green onions. You can eat the little top sets like shallots. They are delicious pickled. And you can dig up the main mother bulbs like regular onions. Because they are perennial, you have onions available 365 days a year. Even under the snow, the green stalks remain harvestable. It is the end of buying onions. Number 10. The lemon leaf green, sorrel, and lovage. I'm grouping sorrel and lovage here because they fill the same niche. The perennial herb, green. Salad greens are usually annoying annuals. Lettuce bolts in the heat. Spinach hates the sun. Sorrel is the solution. It is a perennial leafy green that comes up early in spring. It has a distinct, sharp, lemony tang because of oxalic acid, like rhubarb. It adds a punch of acidity to salads, soups, and sauces. The variety, French sorrel, is the best for culinary use. It has velvety leaves and doesn't get bitter. It grows like a clump of spinach that never dies. Lovage is the other giant. It tastes like celery, but magnified 10 times. It grows 6 feet tall. You only need one plant for an entire neighborhood. You use the leaves in soups, stews, and stocks instead of celery stalks. It saves you from buying that plastic-wrapped celery bunch that always rots in the fridge drawer. Number 11. The protein staple, hazelnut, filbert. We have carbs, we have vitamins, we have fruits, we need protein and fat, we need nuts. Most nut trees, walnuts, pecans, take 20 years to bear fruit and grow 80 feet tall. That's too big for most backyards. Enter the hazelnut. Hazelnuts grow as bushes, not giant trees. They stay about 10 to 12 feet tall. You can plant them as a hedge, a fedge, food hedge, along your property line. They start producing nuts in as little as 4 or 5 years. Hazelnuts are incredibly calorie-dense. They are packed with healthy fats and protein. In a survival situation, a hedge of hazelnuts could keep you alive through winter. The maintenance technique here is coppicing. Every 7 to 10 years, you can cut the wood down to the ground. The plant will shoot back up with vigorous straight rods that are perfect for making bean poles, fences, or baskets. You get food and building materials from the same plant. Look for varieties resistant to eastern filbert blight if you live in the US, like Jefferson or Yamhill. Number 12. The orchard anchor, fruit trees, apples, pears, plums. We cannot end this list without the heavyweights, the trees. A standard apple or pear tree can produce 300 pounds of food a year for 100 years. That is a legacy. You plant it for yourself, but you also plant it for your grandchildren. The key to perennial fruit success is guild planting. In an orchard, trees are often lonely, surrounded by bare dirt or grass. In a food forest, we plant friends around the tree. We plant daffodils at the base to stop grass from creeping in and to stop mice from eating the bark. We plant comfrey to mine nutrients and fertilize the tree. We plant yarrow and dill to attract predatory wasps that eat the bad bugs. This creates a self-sustaining ecosystem where you don't need to spray chemicals. When choosing varieties, focus on disease resistance. If you don't want to spray, don't plant a Red Delicious or a Macintosh. They are disease magnets. Plant a Liberty or an Enterprise apple. Plant a Moonglow pear. These have been bred to fight off fungus and bacteria on their own. Also, consider storage varieties. Some apples rot in a week. Others, like Arkansas Black, are hard as a rock when picked, but soften in storage and can be eaten in February or March. Growing storage crops is the secret to year-round food security. We have covered 12 crops today: asparagus, rhubarb, sunchokes, berries, trees. It is a lot of information. But I want to leave you with something more important than a plant list. I want to leave you with a shift in mindset. When you plant an annual garden, when you plant lettuce or corn, you are engaging in a transaction. You do the work, you get the food, and the contract ends. It is a linear exchange. But when you plant a perennial garden, you are doing something fundamentally different. You are building a relationship. You are building an ecosystem. You are building a legacy. Think about the sheer math of it. If you plant a tomato, you get maybe 20 pounds of fruit in one season, and then the frost kills it. You have to buy the seed again, start the lights again, harden it off again, over 10 years. That is, 10 starts, 10 purchases, 10 risks of failure. Now look at an apple tree. or an asparagus crown. You dig the hole once, you sweat once, you amend the soil once, and for the next 25 years, that plant shows up for you. It survives the drought when the lettuce dies. It pushes through the late frost when the tomatoes freeze. It has a root system that goes deep into the subsoil, mining minerals and water that annual plants can never reach. It is resilient in a way that annual vegetables can never be. This is the difference between renting your food supply and owning it. When you rely on annuals, you are renting your food from the seed company and the fertilizer store every single spring. When you plant perennials, you own the factory. There is an old Greek proverb that says, "A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in." That is the spirit of the forever garden. You are planting for your future self. You are planting for the version of you 10 years from now who might be tired, or busy, or struggling with grocery bills. That version of you will walk out into the backyard in April when the grocery store prices are high and the shelves are thin, and they will find a patch of asparagus shooting up, thick and green. They will find rhubarb ready for a pie. They will find a freezer full of berries, and they will thank you. But it goes beyond just you. It is about the land. Every time you till the soil for annuals, you oxidize the carbon. You kill the fungal networks. You disturb the worms. Perennials do the opposite. They sequester carbon. Their roots build soil structure. They feed the pollinators in early spring, before anything else is blooming. By planting these 12 crops, you aren't just feeding your family. You are healing your patch of earth. You are turning a sterile lawn into a living, breathing, calorie-producing engine. So here is my challenge to you. Do not try to do all 12 at once. That is how we get overwhelmed. That is how we quit. Pick 3. Pick one for early spring, like rhubarb. Pick one for summer, like blueberries. And pick one for survival, like sunchokes or hazelnuts. Just 3 plants. Put them in the ground this weekend. Commit to them. Water them through their first summer. Protect them from the rabbits. And then, step back. Watch what happens next spring. Watch the magic of life returning without your labor. Watch the food forest begin to emerge. We are living in uncertain times. Supply chains break, prices rise, weather gets weird. The most radical, rebellious, and secure thing you can do is to take back control of your own calories. And the most efficient way to do that is with plants that return, year after year, to feed you. Stop running on the treadmill. Step off, pick up a shovel, dig a hole, and plant something that will outlive you. If this deep dive has shifted your perspective, if it has given you the courage to try something new, please hit that like button. It helps us find other gardeners who are ready to stop renting and start owning. And tell me in the comments below, which of these 12 is going into your ground first? I want to know what your legacy looks like. The first year is work. You have to dig the holes. You have to amend the soil. You have to water the babies. The second year is waiting. You watch the asparagus fern out. You pinch the flowers off the strawberries to help them root. But the third year, the magic happens. You walk out in April, and there is food. You didn't plant it. You didn't buy it. It just arrived. The asparagus is poking up. The rhubarb is unfurling. The sorrel is ready for salad. The berry bushes are loaded with flowers. You have stepped off the treadmill. You are no longer just a gardener. You are a steward of a living system. Imagine if you planted just 3 of these crops this weekend. Just 3. In 10 years, those 3 plants will still be feeding you. They will have produced thousands of dollars worth of food. And what will the packet of lettuce seeds you planted do? It will be a distant memory. Stop renting your food from the grocery store. Stop renting your garden from the seed company. Start owning your food supply. Plant perennials. If you found value in this deep dive, if you are ready to dig that asparagus trench, hit that like button. It helps us spread the word of permaculture. And tell me in the comments, what is the one perennial crop you cannot live without? Are you team rhubarb or team asparagus? Thank you for watching. Thank you for caring about the soil. And I will see you in the garden.